Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's The Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Hey, peak performers! We now have a new segment on the podcast called Ask Heneka. In this segment, you can ask your host Heneka any questions you may have on your leadership and entrepreneurial journey, and you might just hear Heneka respond to you. So go ahead and submit your questions by sending an email to henekawatkisporter@gmail.com. Ready, set, go!
If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. Oprah Winfrey. Greetings, my peak performers. I am happy that you've joined me for another episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Welcome. I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter. Today's episode, of course, is with Caline Newton. Caline is a teacher of financial literacy and empowerment and a personal financial analyst and strategist, delivering financial education through seminars, workshops, curricular trainings, and one-on-one coaching and mentoring since 2000. As a transformational leader, Caline's purpose and passion is to serve by imparting the knowledge and wisdom to lead others in a wealth mindset to ultimately result in their financial freedom and financial legacy. That's a mouthful. Today, we are going to be talking about pillars in harnessing freedom and abundance for the entrepreneur. Welcome, Caline.
Thank you for having me, Heneka. It's a pleasure to be here.
It really is a pleasure to have you, and it's about time, right? So,
yes, it is.
Before we head into our conversation, I have a little fun question for you. What's your favorite Jamaican food? If you've ever had Jamaican food, that is.
My favorite Jamaican food is festival.
Oh my gosh, everybody loves festival. All right. So what do you normally have it with, like fish or
jerk chicken?
Yeah. It goes well with jerk chicken or jerk pork or fish. Yeah, for real. So we're going to be talking this whole thing of freedom and abundance, right? What is that really? When we're talking about freedom and abundance, what are we talking about really?
Well, when we speak about freedom and abundance, it is something that encompasses the surrender and the commitment of the whole person. So it's not just speaking about having a dollar value. It's about having balance in every area of your life. Being able to do what you want to do, what you're purposed to do, what you're passionate to do. And so that is what freedom and abundance means in every area of your life.
And it's about, as you say, I like how you put that surrender and commitment. But surrender to what? Let me ask. Surrender to what or to whom? And commitment to what or to whom?
Well, first of all, it's a surrender to God. So it speaks about faith and whose you are. And it's a commitment to self. So once you surrender to God, God is going to reveal to you exactly who you are and what you're purposed to do in this life. And once you have that purpose exposed to you, you're able to be fully committed to yourself and to be all that you were born to be in this life.
You know, in the hustle and bustle and everybody's talking about, you got to do the hustle and team no sleep and all of these things. Now, when we think about that and think about the thought and the idea of surrendering, a lot of persons get daunted by that and, always wanting to be going and not even listening internally to what's going on and listening to what God is saying, what, through the universe, through the abundance of the universe. How can one really stop and just give total surrender?
What we have to realize is that we don't have the answers. We don't have all the answers. And in order for you to live purposely, you have to be able to pause and tap into that divine strength, because that is where the answers are. So I understand we're so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. But in that hustle and bustle, there comes a lot of confusion. There's no clarity. Then we become very wary because we just sometimes going around and around in the same circle. So when we realize that, we need to pause, we need to tap into what's going on around us and not let what's going on around us control us, we will definitely learn how to surrender.
You run an initiative called Live Life Free, and I know you did it in 2018 with Lisa Nichols. Now, tell us about that initiative and how has that been going and what drove you to want to take on this initiative?
Well, the initiative was birthed from my personal life, so my life experiences. So the name of the initiative or the movement is called Live Life Free. And it is built on the foundation of faith. And on that foundation of faith, I have 4 pillars that are very interconnected in all of our lives. So we have finances, we have family, we have friendship, which is really our community, and we have functionality and fitness. So in 2018, I started with the pillar of finances. Obviously, as a personal finance analyst and strategist, and having a love and a passion and a purpose to spread that information to as many persons as possible, because it's connected to financial legacy, and it's connected to financial legacy to not only the current generation, but to your children, to your children's children, and to your children's children's children. In this age where, as you say, as the entrepreneur, we're trying to see how best we can function, how best we can survive in this day and age, you have to understand what the concept of finances are and understand what the concept is of abundance and wealth. And once you have an understanding of these things, you're able to function freely as an entrepreneur, as an individual who is a part of a family, as an individual who is a part of a community of friends, and also for your own optimum, vibrant health. And that's where the functionality comes in. So there has to be a balance all around.
You know, you're from the Caribbean. I am from the Caribbean, and I've seen persons, go around as though money and finance is a dirty word, like nobody wants to talk about money. And when you think about money, like, the first thing people tell you, oh, I don't have money and I'm poor. But as even the quote that I opened with from Oprah Winfrey, right? If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. What have you seen based on your own practice? And, and of course, I know with, your association with Lisa Nichols, coming through and looking at things from an abundance perspective, how has that been able to affect your community?
You hit the nail right on the head when you speak of how persons look at money. And we have to change the conversation and shift the conversation. And that's what Live Life Free has been doing, shifting the conversation from persons looking at money as equal to wealth and abundance. If we look at it in its totality, wealth and abundance is a mindset. If we're able to change our mindset, we're able to look at things differently. And the quote by Oprah is a prime example of that. How you see things is how you're going to live those things out. So if you believe that you don't have enough, if you believe that you can't make ends meet, if you believe that you have to steal from Peter to pay Paul, that's where you're going to be. That's what you're going to do. But if you believe that little by little, with each opportunity I have, that I can do things differently, that I can spend differently, that I can save, that I can do different businesses, invest differently, you open yourself up to a whole different world and understanding of what wealth and abundance is.
We look at entrepreneurship, especially online, and you read those stories sometimes of those who are considered successful. And they'll tell you it's all about the hustle, right? Dig a little deeper for us, the importance and underscore the importance of family and friendship and building that community of support to help you along your purpose.
Sometimes we think or we look at family as being just blood relation. And we look at friends or our community as persons who we would have grown up with, persons we would have gone to school with. We have to now open our mindset to include other individuals because our associations are also connected to our net worth. So I don't know if you've heard the...
Your network is your net worth, huh?
Correct.
Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, so if you focus on that, you would understand that your network has to be more than just your bloodline family. Because if every entrepreneur knows, if you're going into business just for your family and your close friends to support you, then you might as well keep it as a hobby. You need to also ensure that you can extend deeper into a community. So you have to connect with others. You have to see their value. And once you are able to have that connection with other persons and they see your value and they see your trust, they're able to now invest in you and also assist you in whatever entrepreneurial business you have. So you have to look at the pillar of family and friendship as something more than just your bloodline. You have to develop relationships. And when you develop relationships, especially relationships of value, they become very reciprocal. So once you're able to develop these types of reciprocal relationships, you're also able to now strengthen and deeper your wealth and abundance mindset and also whatever translates physically for you in those areas.
And even as we talk about the fact that our network is our net worth, Jim Rohn also says that we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. Definitely. And it's right. And so on this journey, it is absolutely critical, as you've said, and, just underscoring the points that it's all about relationships and how we nurture relationships. And it's so funny. Sometimes I go to networking events, and as someone once said who was on this podcast as well, that the word networking has become such a transactional word. It's about what I can get from you or what you can get from me, but it needs to be, the focus needs to be shifted towards how can we add value to each other, right? Rather than it being a transaction. Oh, let me see, like we call in Jamaica boops out. You find somebody and you're going to boops them out because you're going to milk them for all they've got, that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, those critical. And of course, I see fitness. You have fitness as one of those pillars.
Well, in fitness, it's the totality of the person. So that's the mind, the body, and the soul. So there has to be balance. There has to be focus where you're able to nurture those 3 areas. Because when you're able to nurture your mind, you're able to nurture your body. Obviously, you need to be physically in a position to accomplish your purpose. And then your soul obviously is the essence of who you are. So if you're able to ensure that those 3 areas are able to be in harmony with each other, it'll also assist in harnessing complete abundance and freedom for you in your life. Mm-hmm. So that's the perspective I'm coming from when it comes to fitness and functionality.
Mm-hmm. So don't just work yourself to a frazzle, but it's important to get rest. It's important that you,
definitely,
and not just the rest, but you feed your soul, you feed your spirit by listening. And you alluded to that at the very beginning of our conversation, in total surrender. And so, I know you talked about, so far you've mentioned your 4 pillars in harnessing freedom and abundance, and particularly for us as entrepreneurs, it's very important that our finances are in order, that we stay connected and build relationships, not just, as you mentioned, our immediate family or friendships of, with people that we would have grown up with, but as we build our businesses, we come in contact with amazing people and we nurture, we nurture those relationships. I have been able, I can speak from experience, been able to have conversations with all different people, all different types of people from around the world. And it's not just about having them on the podcast. Of course, that's how it starts. But, you build on that and you nurture relationships, because at the end of the day, it is people, with whom you're going to win and have any success.
Definitely.
And so for you, those pillars, what undergirds those pillars as you see them?
I alluded to it earlier, but the ultimate thing that undergirds those 4 pillars is faith. From my life experience, I can unequivocally say that it was faith, the foundation of faith, that I was able to move through gracefully and with ease, through my triumphs, through my successes, even through my challenges, my road bumps, my stumbling blocks. We all have those that we go through. So, but if it wasn't for my unwavering faith in God and being able to pause and tap into Him through surrendering, I would not have been able to, or even at this point, continue to move, as I said, with grace and ease in my purpose, and to, in my mind, continue to build upon living life in complete abundance and in complete freedom.
All right. So let me ask you, because as you rightfully mentioned, you would have gone through challenges and so on, but talk to us about faith against the backdrop of the various challenges that you would have gone through from time to time. How can we still cling to faith, believing in God and clinging to faith in the midst of our challenges, in the midst of our adversities, when things are just not going the way that we want them to go or we thought that they should have been going?
Well, you have to just make the decision that faith is what is going to keep you, because we're all human beings. So this isn't something that we're not going to say to ourselves like, why us? Or question God, why now? We're human beings. But in order for you to be able to cling to faith, you just have to make a decision that is what it's going to be. Because if we let our minds wander, we let our minds hold on to other things, we know how unhealthy that can be. Just to use my experience as an example, just fresh out of college, I was bedridden for 3 months, seemingly paralyzed, unable to do anything for myself, unable to barely speak, not being able to walk. And during that time, I had 2 choices, because the only thing that was able to work on a daily basis was my mind. So with that being the only thing, I could have easily decided to give up or allow my mind to spiral me into a depression. Or what I did do was I decided that I would cling to God, cling to my faith, and say, your will be done, and keep my mind as positive as I could during that time. And I can guarantee you it was because I intentionally chose to take the positive route, to hold on to God, to hold on to my faith. That is where my breakthrough came.
Wow, that's such an amazing story. No, it's a decision. And I want to underscore that to our peak performers. It is a decision. Everything in life is a decision.
Yeah.
We decide to take one more wrong move, or we decide to stay in a relationship that isn't working. And then, we decide to keep the business and all the indications saying that we need to close it. It's always a decision. It comes down to the decisions that we make and our mindset. So it's very important that we align ourselves with people that can, help us along the way, because no man is an island. No man stands alone.
No.
Yeah?
And it was during that time, as I said, that this entire concept of live life free was birthed for me. Because even while I clinged or I desperately, as I can tell you, I held on to my faith, I was also blessed to have family, to have a community around me, and to be able to have resources to ensure that my mind, my body, and my soul was still able to function even with its limited physical functionality during that time.
That is an amazing story. As we are about to wrap our conversation, Caline, share with us your final thoughts on what we've been discussing so far. Just anything else that you want to share with our community of peak performers?
Well, my final thoughts are beyond Live Life Free. I want the community of listeners, entrepreneurs, to look forward to 2019, or now that we're in 2019, to live in expectation, to surrender. Once you surrender to faith and commit to self, I want you to do some key things to keep you motivated throughout the year. So ensure that you celebrate all your wins. You have to definitely practice self-care. It goes back to what you said about the hustle and bustle, and sometimes we take our bodies right to the ground. But we have to also practice self-care. And we have to be gentle with ourselves, even in our losses. Because when we're gentle with ourselves in our losses, we'll be able to celebrate fully in our wins. Ensure that you have quarterly goals that you set so that you can see where you're at and you're able to adjust anything that needs to be adjusted while you're moving through 2019. And you also have to ensure that you invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Ensure that you have mentors, that you have persons around you who are there to help you. And you also need to ensure that you're able to serve others. You know, those are just some of a few key items that I want to leave with your listeners. And two more, which are these are game changers. You have to be non-negotiable in certain areas of your life. And for me, my faith is one area, and also these 4 pillars. So you have to figure out what it is. What does it mean for you to have complete abundance and for you to have freedom now and financial legacy for you and your children and your children's children? And you have to always stay in action, have an accountability tribe, because, you know, sometimes we like to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, but we don't have a benchmark, or we don't have a community around us to follow up to ensure that we maintain or we stay committed to what we say that we're going to do. So those are just a few key things that I want to leave with your listeners and for them to grasp from our conversation today.
Those are amazing. And also want you to share, Caline, is there anything that you have coming up that you want to share with our peak performers?
So definitely I will be distributing information periodically, quarterly throughout the year. If anyone wants to connect and have that information, you can follow me on my social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. It's my name, CALINENEWTON. And also you can send an email to livelifefree1006@gmail.com to opt in for any information. And in October of this year, October 4th and 5th, I will have the second in the 4-part series that will build on the inaugural series that we had with Lisa Nichols last year. So this year, we also are going to have another event. So keep close to my website, which is also my name, and you will have all information in reference to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Caline. You have been an amazing guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Heneka. It was such a pleasure. It was very nice being here with you today.
Absolutely. And my guest has been Caline Newton. She's a financial analyst and strategist. Now, I thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I look forward to connecting with you next time. In the meantime, I am on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as Heneka Watkis-Porter, and on Twitter at the EntrepreU. So let's connect. That's THEENTREPYOU. Remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. What good? Today's question for the Ask Heneka segment comes from Rashida Peter Hallman, and she wants to know how to manage your full-time job, full-time school, while launching your side business. Now, the first thing to look at is to set goals for each area and take tiny consecutive steps each day. The truth is, life requires us to manage ourselves in order to live in harmony and have harmony amidst all the things that we must do. And you notice I don't say balance, because balance is kind of impossible to attain. But what you want to work towards is harmony. So have a goal for when you want to launch and do little things each day to get started. Because launching a business whilst doing work, school and everything else will mean that you allocate time on weekends and after work to put in the effort to get your business started. So perhaps you need to consider crowdsourcing families and friends to chip in. Delegate tasks to those who you think you can trust. And don't forget to include some time for social activity, because remember, we are going for work-life harmony. Okay? So Rashida, I wish you every success with your endeavors, school, work, business, everything that you are doing. Be blessed.